And is that, and are they getting this, but we can look at what they're doing, but are they getting an ambiguity then as to whether it's actually Coke or that you're just talking about the kind of bottle or something? Only one other comment, and it could be that this will change, but I would initially have not had this many people on the frame all at once or something.
If you wake como una Coca-Cola en un bar y cuando lo abres it goes up y se cae.
¿En una Coca-Cola?
No, cuando está en como una botella y cuando se mueve se va para aquí y se cae.
Que sube. ¿Qué tiene una Coca-Cola? Tiene
una tapadera.
Y tiene gas. Es agua con gas. Entonces, si le haces así a la Coca-Cola, ¿qué sube? El gas sube.
Y también si se te cae y después los bubbles.
Las burbujas. Okay, this is what I want you to do.
It's largely the exchange between those two. I think it was right after she goes up and then she switches to the kaye. Let's see this again.
Okay.
I mean, several things. I guess I'm slightly interested in the gesture for a couple things. One, and I don't think this is full-fledged stuff, but one of the things we've been looking at lately are the geologists and diagrammatic gestures and the way they understand something by making models with their hands.
Right.
Now this is, and crucial to that is the ability to manipulate. This isn't quite that. It's pantomime, but it might almost be kind of like, at least in the family, as some sort of a, for whatever it's worth, just the whole gesture is done. I don't necessarily like the words like a small narrative or something. I mean, you get up to this thing and then you're going to see what happens next, and that's where you're, you know, so it's got that unfolding. Yeah, and it starts with just the hand things at first, the animated shaking that isn't explicitly looked at, and then she brings her arms up in front of her face. One other quick thing on that thing, and this is just inspired by watching geologists when they're describing a fault. They bring two hands together, then drop one. She brings two hands up at first with the bottle, and then when she's doing the up, she raises it. So it's almost like that
She's
lower
almost
part.
staged herself.
Yeah. Minor point, could it be that the teacher is not really following? Because in a way, when you see her doing the up, it's almost like where you misanalyze a story. You think this climax has come early, and you look at the face, and then but because it's almost too elaborate at that point, which is in fact the preparatory thing for the thing that's about to come. But when you get the hand up here,
hand up gesture.
Yeah, and then you're going to have the whole thing fall.
Yeah.
And but it's almost like by by doing the big thing at that point, she's treating the hand up as though that was a main point.
That's the main point.
Well, showing in many ways that she doesn't understand the whole nature of the thing. And I would suspect that, from other stuff, that if in fact the teacher were comprehending, you'd begin to get displays of comprehension during the end of the hand movement. Where does she start that exactly? I mean, I'm wondering how early she sees that the teacher doesn't understand and then begins to mobilize this alternative way of showing. And also the lid, the fact that the gas is compressed, is an equally valid part of the whole thing with the gas. It seems that the teacher has perhaps an agenda for what she wants to show. Yeah, what I tend to do is in a way the opposite. I work initially from the video, and then my first step is to try to describe or get down exactly what's happening. Now in that process, I'm going to be starting to do the transcript, but at the same time, even as I'm doing the transcript, I'll want to indicate where relevant things are happening. So my way of working would have been to see this thing and then to say, get that there's the hand, and then go back to get the talk to try to figure out how that's done with reference to that.
Great.
I guess I'll have to say part of my reason for not doing that is I've been contaminated by, I think, what people do in CA data sessions, where even if they have video, they always work from the transcript, and then after they've worked out everything in the transcript, they say, does the video have anything to add? So you're getting your primary organization through the talk.
From that talk.
Yeah. I guess one thing that interests me, and maybe this addresses the question, is you have the issue that the intelligibility of this is not in any single area. It's not in the talk, it's not in the gesture. And I frequently go back to a quote in The Neglected Situation, tiny thing, but Goffman talked about a moving focus of cognitive and visual attention. And one of the issues seems to be in this is actually trying to negotiate or use that focus, and that focus has broken down at certain points, so people aren't seeing crucial things. I had expected more here, when the girl finally gets the explosion, it's very attenuated. Is she does the thing, then looks up for the response of the teacher.
Right.
So that's
I didn't
exactly
get back up to look at her yet. I was focusing on her hand.
Cuando se mueve, se va para aquí.
Que sube, que sube. ¿Qué tiene?
Did the little girl say sube? Or only the teacher?
Se cae. No, she doesn't say sube. She says se cae.
Right. Okay. Two quick observations. One, she's doing another version of the shaking, only her version is really different than the girl's because it's put up in this large focal position and it's done. And then what she does, obviously, it was just obvious, but she repeats the sube twice. And the thing is that she's first kind of picking it up, topicalizing, and the second time it's being accompanied by the demonstration. Let me see. I thought, but let me just...
No, but you may be right.
But this is a whole thing of going back to see what you're seeing. You're not always right.
Yeah.
Se goes up y se cae.
¿Coca-Cola?
No, cuando está en como una botella y cuando se mueve, se va para aquí.
Que sube, que sube. ¿Qué tiene?
That's why I meant that twice, yeah. And then each of the subes is different because she's using the second one as the basis for the co-accompanying enactment or something. Isn't that the one where she's actually doing the elaborate demonstration?
Let's go ahead and see. I think she's about to start it here.
No, yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, actually.
Se va para aquí.
Que sube, que sube. ¿Qué tiene una Coca-Cola?
Yeah. Now, and again, just for whatever it's worth, simple stuff on gesture, that when you say what's in Coke, you're not going to answer with chemicals or something. I mean, the issue is that the handshaking is already demonstrating the relevance of the gas and the gas.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
yeah. What are we? We're up about 136. Let me just see. Was he out of it continuously? I'm just going to scan back quick.
Yeah, let's do it. Good idea.
Looks like we've frozen. Okay, what I'm going to do is just quit and start. I can't quit. Okay, I push it. I'm the Mac guy. No, I can't. I can't get. Wait,
Come on,
where's
Mac.
force quit? Okay. Could it be my sweat on my? Is there some? I haven't got any, but I'm wondering if my hands are not working. I can move that. Yeah, that's it. Let's try it. Good. Okay, and we're back at the same place. And she makes a big claim that she understands when she changes it to gas by doing these elaborate nods, but in fact she's radically transformed what the girl just said.
Something with her
Okay,
head,
let's take
something
a
with her
look.
chin,
Let's
with
take
her
a look.
nod.
Yeah.
Cuando se mueve.
Look at her. She's got the puzzled shaking of her head there. She still doesn't understand where it's going.
That's right.
Because she's claiming that's what's going on, independent of the girl.
Right.
And, but this also just in my own sense of how you're constantly building next action by transforming in terms of your own projects and things. I have a hunch that what the teacher's wanting to do here is to get back to the lesson. So she's hearing the girls talk in ways that it can be transformed to take her back to the lesson, which is very different than trying to recover the girl's intention or what the girl might. She's tracking where those points might emerge. I wonder if the little girl might end up figuring she was never adequately understood out of the whole thing. Just very quick, when the girl does, and my son's talking about tapadera or whatever, she's done the same thing the teacher did of stating in another word, and you're claiming this is what you were saying when it's enough fact. And then I think the teacher adds to that then, now that you got the picture, isn't it begin with an E? Ilegas or something? So
Y tiene gas. Yeah. So,
well, I think the way the lifted head goes is she goes nodding toward the girl. The up part of the head is toward the girl, and the downward part goes to her own gesture. So she pivots off with the head movement. And if we just think of focuses of attention, it's a subtle way of shifting the attention away from the girl back to her hair. So she's constantly, I don't know how this fits with your signers, but they're giving some guides for where you should put the
absolutely.
Yeah. And of course, when she did the first gaze, we noted that she seemed to see the climax at going up. And now this is what she's vividly enacting, is the whole scene of it. And it's getting in front of her face even all. Yeah. Well, I wonder, I mean, what it seemed to me they might be trying to demonstrate, because she said at some point, so we can see that things take up space. And I'm wondering if the demonstration was simply that you put a bunch of junk in the thing and the water rises.
right.
So, so I'm wondering if the gas was irrelevant at that point. And then one quick thing, and I don't know where it goes, it only happened at the end. At this point, it seems that she expands back to at least one other kid or the others. It's like once she's done the elaborate thing, she now begins
She's moved back to the class.
Yeah. So here we are here.
Right.
And, can we move this a little if I can? The kid seems to be focusing on his paper He's got
Yeah,
paper
it's
over
kind of-
here, and now we have the girl coming in. It's only, in a way, I was thinking she's getting back to the kids, but this kid has begun to show an interest in the thing. Yeah, and this, okay, so it's this guy coming in with the bubbles at this point,
Yeah.
right? Okay. And there's another pivot here, she goes from one to the other.
Yeah.
Oh, and then she has the chance, as you were saying earlier, she corrects the...
She corrects the
You're
wrong
right.
article, the wrong
Right.
article.
She goes back to her El Gaz Sube, and in a certain sense, and she gets a nod, that is, in just that phrase, she encapsulates the whole thing that has gone on. The
Right.
girl trying to show the Sube, her coming back with the gas.
And the
that-
water level soup.
Yeah, yes. This is where, I mean, just in terms of methodology, this is the point after we gotten here, where I was doing the audio transcript, but what I would be doing is I'd be pulling this up in Audacity.
Yeah.
So I could pick out the things right at this point.
That's right.
And what do? Do you have like the space of the house set up so that it's, you don't have to exactly, because you sound like you're getting very interesting things, like when they ignore the older sister. So I mean, with my father, I just have the kitchen set up and we'd go.
Right.
And once you had the cameras in place, you could let a lot of more normal stuff go. And that's something else with respect to the, you know, the proposal for the conference when they were using Eleanor's stuff on transcription series. The first thing is actually the filming itself, in terms of organizing. It's the
Absolutely.
first thing that really, yeah. One thing that just has been sitting in the back of my head, maybe, is that she doesn't look toward the gesturing hands. But I know Marion Goldberg, I think, once argued that that's where you look generally. That generally it's not the focus, and people pick up gesture from peripheral vision. And there's questions about that, because I know Tanya Stivers, I don't agree. Oh, okay. But she cited a thing of Candy, where, you know, the kids' stories where they go into diet. But it's not really a diet, because the whole importance of the audience.
Yeah.
They're constantly doing that for, yeah, okay, so I guess we're,
If you feel
We're
good,
right off the hook.
feels like a good time. You're off the hook.
yeah, why don't we just play it through once?
Yeah,
and
let's
see
do
if
it.
there's And only one other very simple observation, just from having seen it silence. We've been talking about gaze, but the teacher is actually doing a lot with her whole upper body,
Indeed.
like coming up into the tent and things, and it's the whole manipulation of that as well.